Good afternoon. It is 12 o'clock on my clock, and guess what? It's time for another edition of What's on Your Plate. I am Janae Taylor, the Pastor Relief Trainer, and I come on here at least twice a month to talk to my fellow church admins. Y'all, I know sometimes it feels like you are out there by yourself, but I am here every 2 weeks to let you know you are not alone. I am here to share all kinds of knowledge that I have with you. Please join me in conversation. I am watching all of the comments. I'm not going to be on here for long, up to 15 minutes, just to say hello, give you some knowledge, some helpful tips that you can use in your ministry. And that's all I do on What's on Your Plate. So again, join me every 2 weeks right here on Facebook Live as we discuss different topics. I'll give you a heads up to the best of my knowledge on what we're going to be talking about so that I can make sure that it's beneficial to you. If you are ever looking for a group that understands what you go through as a church admin, please, I invite you to join my group, Relief Givers. It's here on Facebook, and it's just a group of admins where we can vent and do whatever we want in that group. It stays in that group. Amen. Nobody understands the life of a church admin better than another church admin. So my invitation to you to please join me. Relief Givers, again, that's on Facebook here. So today we're going to talk about church taxes. So this is January, and if you're new to the admin world and one of your many hats, okay, is dealing with the finances of the church like mine is, January is a big month for you. One, you're already closing out the previous year, getting ready for the new year, and not getting ready because you should have been planned already, but you're executing those plans for the new year. In January, you also have to do the tithing statements, which I talked about 2 weeks ago on my previous What's on Your Plate edition. And then today we're going to talk about those taxes. Y'all, those taxes are for real. For number one, nobody wants to play with the IRS, and especially for yourself nor for the church that you work at. So one of my hats is to deal with the finances of our church in that aspect. So one of the big misconceptions with taxes for churches is how to properly classify those that are on staff. So for churches, we have volunteers, we have contractors, and we have employees. The volunteers, that's the easiest one. They give of their time, of their talent, of their heart for no monetary exchange. Those are your volunteers. Nothing has to be done for them when it comes to taxes. Then you have your contractors and your employees. Now that is where it gets kind of fuzzy on where you should put people, but you need to learn how to put them. Now let me pause right there to say I am not a tax accountant. So if you have any deep questions, please find one. I'm just here to share the knowledge that I had to learn doing the taxes for our church. So going back, so you got volunteers, you have employees, and you have contractors. So volunteers, again, we do not pay them anything for their services. They are strictly volunteers. We love, churches cannot do ministry work without our volunteers. So shout out to all of the volunteers across all of the ministries right now, because we can't do it without you. So volunteers not related to taxes. The ones that are related are your employees and your contractors. What is the difference? I did a post last week, and it gave 3 questions that you need to ask yourself per person on your staff to learn how to classify them for your taxes. Let me tell you, if you misclassify them, the IRS will come and find you because they are very strict on how churches and businesses, for that sake, should have people classified. So the 3 questions were behavioral. Does your organization have control or the right to control the worker? Financial, who controls the worker? How the worker is paid? And then also relationship. Does your organization provide benefits to the worker? Those 3 questions will help you figure out how to classify that person on your staff. So let's go with behavioral. Behavioral. Does your organization have control or the right to control the worker? So that means for like myself, admin, the pastor has the right to control how I do my job, my role for the ministry. Therefore, I am an employee. Period. I can't come in there and do whatever I want to. No, no, ma'am, no, sir. I answer to the pastor, and he tells me how things are supposed to be handled at my church or at your church. So behavioral, that one alone makes me an employee. Financial, who controls how the worker is paid? So on this one, we can go two directions. If the church states, you're going to be paid this much at this frequency for working here at this ministry, you are an employee. They have complete control over how much you get paid. If you are somebody else that comes in and says, okay, I'll do that service for you for X amount of money, then, and you have no say so that they are telling you how much they're going to get paid, they are a contractor. That is not an employee because they are driving how much they should get paid. So that's the financial piece. Relationship. Does your organization provide benefits to the worker? If your church is blessed enough to have benefits and can offer those, then that is an employee. That person is an employee. If you are a smaller ministry that does not offer benefits, then that can go. That doesn't make them an employee. You just don't have the means to offer the benefits. But if, like that person that I just said, came into your ministry and said, I'm going to get paid this much money for my services, and you do not offer them any benefits, then they're a contractor. I hope I did not confuse anybody. One of the main positions that I've read about and I've seen that sparks a lot of questions are musicians, because I've done a lot of interviews to understand this question a whole lot more after I did my reading. Some musicians are strictly contractors. Other musicians are employees. Okay, say that again. Some musicians fall under the contractor status. Some musicians fall under the employee status. If the musician solely works for your church, the church determines how much they are going to get paid. That musician answers to the pastor or to the ministry lead at that church. They are an employee, period. They need to fill out a W-4, so that they can get a W-2 this time of the year in January. If the musician works for multiple churches, they tell you how much they're going to get paid for their services. They are a contractor. They get a 1099. That is one of the most misclassified roles at a church that I keep running over, and I can understand because it gets confusing. But just that little bit of information for you. Musicians is one of the biggest things. If they answer to the pastor or the ministry lead, the church determines how much they get paid, and when they work, then they are an employee. If they work for multiple churches, you are not the only church that they play for, then they are a contractor and they need to be 1099. So make sure that you literally take those 3 questions and go through each person to make sure you have them right. If you have somebody as classified as a contractor but should be a W-2 or a W-2 or the other one, you will get fined by the IRS. Nobody wants a bill from the IRS. So please, 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 again, I am not a tax accountant. I am telling you what I've read, what I've been through working with the taxes at my church, to just make sure that you are following the IRS guidelines to the T to make sure that you got your stuff in order. W-2s, we all know, if you don't know, they have to be just like a regular job from the church. They have to be sent out post dated by January 31st. If you haven't already started, you have like a week left. So I'm praying for you to get through the rest of this month. It's a lot that goes into doing the taxes. I've learned a lot since I've been doing it for my church. It's very eye-opening. And sometimes it can be real scary at a sense because they are the big IRS. So I just wanted to share that with you. I am praying for all church admins that have to work on taxes, one, but just in general, all admins during this time that have anything to do with the end of year annual stuff that has to be done. We are really heads down from January 1st to the end of the month. Trying to make sure everybody has their giving statements for their own personal taxes, making sure that the taxes for the church is turned into the government to make sure all I's are dotted, all T's are crossed. Praying for you fervently that you will make it through January to see February, and that it's going to get easier. So again, this is Janae Taylor with another edition of What's on Your Plate. Find you a tax accountant. If you're doing the taxes yourself and you're not really sure about it for your church, find a tax accountant. Use tax software. All the help is out there for you. Again, if you are a church admin and you just want a community to be a part of, to vent, to share ideas, get questions answered, I invite you to join Relief Givers on Facebook. It's my personal Facebook group for church admins, and I just want to cultivate that space for church admins to come together as one so that we can help uplift each other, because you are not out there by yourself. No matter how it may feel that way, there's always somebody out here to help you, and that is what I do. So have a great day. Have a great rest of the week, and many blessings on closing out January for your church.